We're back on the air, the Gary Russen program on GGRB Online, live on Podbean across America and around the world from our GGRB Spreaker studios. Our Spreaker Podbean studios, I'm going to call it now. The Spreaker Podbean studios, or we can call it the Podbean Spreaker studios. Either way, from Clinton's North End, just above the Lion Shopping District, and thank you for tuning in. And I hope you all stay with me throughout the afternoon for some great talk radio and a lot of great things coming up for you this hour. We'll get into the next hour with some more interesting things. We want to get into the conversation about the football players, and I want to go into the in the next hour we'll have some fun and do that top 10 from 1988. So stay tuned for that. That'll be fabulous. And we'll throw some of those in there. Meanwhile, though, as I would say, back at the jungle, which sometimes it can be a jungle, you know what I'm saying? We got some interesting things here, and I thought we'd just kind of throw those into the mix today, so we're going to do that. And pick some of the stories that are here. Let's see here. So I was trying to get into my I'm trying to get into my saved file where I have all my stories, and it seems like I can't do that. So I'm going to try to pull out what I can and see what we got here. Music protesting the president. Here we go. This is the story I think we're talking about. This happened the other day when Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph had a fight, and the NFL players reacted to the Browns. This is during the Steelers-Browns game. This happened, the other night. The Cleveland Browns defensive end Myles Garrett used a helmet to take a swing at the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph at the final seconds of the Browns game between the Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was a Thursday night game. I missed that game, unfortunately. I didn't get a chance to catch that game. Thursday night, let me see, what was I doing? I don't remember what I was doing Thursday night. But anyway, story has it that... and playing a video, of course. I'm glad that's not on loud or there's no volume control on it. I'm going to stop it. Okay, it's going to stop, right? And they make you pay by bringing commercials on there. Anyway, defensive end Myles Garrett used a helmet to take a swing at the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Mason Rudolph at the final seconds of the Browns' 21-7 victory over the Steelers on Thursday Night Football, Week 11. Garrett's action led to the suspension and will keep him out of the remainder of the season for 2019. So he's out for the remainder of the season. He's not going to be playing no more football, this guy. Browns head coach Freddie Kitchens made it clear that he does not condone what the Cleveland defensive end did. Garrett will be hearing with the NFL shortly. Now, Myles, quoting Myles here, so there's 52 other guys on the team that hurt, and it's going to hurt moving forward. So we don't condone that, Kitchen said. In a game, Myles understands what he did wrong. So this is quoting Kitchens here. Myles understands what he did wrong, all right, but he's got to maintain his composure, just like they had to do at the start of the year. And he had to maintain his composure. I think people get behind helmet-to-helmet contacts every week, and I think Myles wishes that he had used a better composure with 5 seconds left in the game. The Pick 6 podcast fired up on emergency episode after the news of the suspension, resulting in the Steelers fight, which came down. So there's a podcast on here I'll have to listen to that later, check it out. But there's a saying. What happened was that it was an on-call for move on the part of the Browns. It wasn't on call. It was an on-call for. It should. I don't know what got into this guy, but apparently he took a swing at one of the football players with his helmet, and it takes smarts to do something like that, folks. I'm telling you. What the heck is this? Okay, I thought that was my Weather Underground, but it's not. And that's not what I was looking for anyway. Okay, let me see if I can find it. I'm looking for my National Weather Service is what I'm looking for. Because it's time for another edition of Weather on the Fives. I wish I would have recorded my Weather on the Fives intro. But apparently I did not. So, I'm going to be doing Weather on the Fives like I do over at the church studios, because I don't have it over there yet, and do Weather on the Fives without my signal, because I'm going to be making a new opening anyway. So I'm doing it that way this time around. So I'm doing Weather on the Fives just a trifle bit differently. And that's not what I wanted. I don't want that either. So where's my stupid National Weather Service? Okay, it's got to be here someplace. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay, well, I have to do Weather on the Fives any time in the hour that ends in fives until I find that stupid thing. I lost my National Weather Service site, and apparently I would have it on the phone, which I think I should have done before airtime. I didn't. I only have so much time for prep for my programs. And I don't always have time to do certain things, like look for things. So every once in a while, I have to do without a lot of stuff. And that's what it is here. Because here it is. Here's National Weather Service. This is what I was originally looking for. So here is our Weather on the Fives. And I'll get that Weather on the Fives intro in the can for this week. There's a major storm forecast, and we were talking about this yesterday, and it's supposed to intensify, pretty much. They're saying that this storm, which is brewing it's like a hurricane actually. A major storm forecast to intensify over this weekend, and it's in the southeast mid-Atlantic coast. It's going to deliver a number of impacts of heavy rain, high winds expected to be for the coastal sections of eastern North Carolina and southeast Virginia. While a variety of marine hazards are possible, the entire East Coast is elevated to a East Coast, and then there's like elevated fire threat still on Southern California. And I think that's going to be going on for some time, because they're saying that this storm is doing extensive damage to the Pacific coastline. So we're going to keep an eye on that, let you know what's going on. Another person just joined us too. I'd like to say hi to ARCANJO, Arcanjo 192866. Welcome to the show, and thank you for joining me on the Gary Russen program today. The Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra live on Spreaker and on GJRB Online and on Podbean, and also on 9-foot closed circuit and Spreaker FM 88.9 KSPR 9-foot closed circuit FM signal, which covers just the 9-foot radius of our Spreaker studios on the FM dial. And this is where we do some good talk radio. So I hope you'll stay with me this afternoon. And thank you for tuning in. And we'll be right back with more of the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra. Thank you so much for tuning in and enjoying the program wherever you're listening across America. And we'll be right back with more. So hang in there. And, we'll we'll be got some more good stuff coming your way. So we'll be right back on GJRB.
Imagine one day tuning around on your internet radio only to find a station playing old radio programs, complete with commercials, and thinking, what am I tuning into? The past? You might be, or it's just GJRB Online and Radio Land. A day of nothing but classic radio shows, back-to-back with classic commercials in between. Like the days of radio. Almost like your computer is picking up signals through time. Closer than you'll ever get to time travel. Radio Land. End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end-time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a podcast Wednesdays, and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them. Help them. If it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. The call will be answered by a trained counselor at a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop for a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. Violators of this law could get a suspension of their driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stop at a corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Safety Administration and GJRB Online. Recently, the owner of Facebook had to face Congress over personal information on Facebook users. In addition, users were saying that their postings were being deleted. Getting sick and tired of your censorship and your data being used without your permission? Do something about it now. Come to MeWe, the internet social site that values your freedom. No more deleted postings. Make a step to freedom. Sign up today. It's easy. Go to www.MeWe.com. That's MEWE. MeWe, the internet's free speech social site. From America's Heartland, this is GJRB, Clinton, Iowa. Well, a little bit after the 4 o'clock hour, Central Standard Time, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. And I'm Gary J. Russen. Welcome to the second hour of the Gary Russen program, Saturday Extra, live from Spreaker and on Podbean across the USA. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got some great people in our chat room right now, and we glad you join us. Our Canjo 192866. We have Black Dragons Radio in the live listening today, and Flash. Welcome aboard, and thank you for tuning in to the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online here on Podbean. Hey, we've got a lot of good stuff coming up this hour, so I hope you'll stay with me, and I hope you'll stay on with us. You're welcome to join in the conversation, talking about the football player that decided he was going to swing at one of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he got into big trouble. We've been talking about that. But you're welcome to put in your input, especially if what you think about lately what's been going on with the impeachment inquiry, and what you've been thinking what's going on there. You're welcome to put your 2 cents worth in. And you can do that by going in here on Podbean and just drop it into the chat room if you're listening live. I don't know how this guest call-in works, so I really don't know how this all gets in there. There are co-host things, okay. So I guess like if Black Dragons wanted to be my co-host, for example, he would be in there. Yeah, I would see how that works. Maybe I'd try that sometime, BJ, because that'd be kind of cool to have you on and see what we could do with this show. So yeah, so we've been talking about that and other great things. Also, been talking about my past, just talking about myself, and for people listening on Podbean about what GJRB is all about and what I do on the air, and some of the things that I do on the air, and how I produced my own promos and spots and created my own station on Spreaker since 2012, and now on Podbean, and I want to be able to do more on here. And it's so great to be able to do 2 hours nonstop with no stopping. It's absolutely incredible. This unlimited time is just incredible, and I got to tell you, this is great when I can get continuous with a lot of listeners. Now, I had planned on going on the. Well, cool. We'll try it out. It would be cool to try out. Yeah. Black Dragons is. I'm talking to Black Dragons. He's in my Spreaker chat room right now, and absolutely fabulous. We'll have to plan a show together sometime, and that would be kind of a neat thing. Hey, by the way, did you hear the past two promo breaks? The last two spot breaks I did at the bottom and top of the hour. I'm doing it kind of like coast to coast, and where I just kind of advertise every 30 minutes, or the flip of the Spreaker here. I just played music, so I thought that was kind of a cool idea, and I do like some of that music, the energetic music that's on Podbean. It's absolutely fabulous. Uses a break just to flip over on the Spreaker side, so it's absolutely fabulous, and this is going to work. I like this idea. I'm going on Spreaker for the sake of people like Ed Delgado, the Caramel Conservative, who I'm hoping that he decides to come on Podbean, because it would be really cool to have him in the chat room and maybe do a show with maybe you. Yeah, that would be cool. How about you, me, and Ed? I did hear those. Sounds great. Thank you. Absolutely fabulous. And I think that's a neat. Now, what I did was, it wasn't coming on where, because like I said before, one thing I wish Podbean had was that access to my stereo mix. But what I'm doing there is I put all my promos on my little ICR voice recorder. I have one of those. And I put all the hard breaks on there, and I play those off of there into my mixer console. And it plays over the air that way. So I'm just using my regular generated Spreaker, my outside console, my external console. I was trying to find the word for that. External console to play my promos into Podbean. So that's what I was doing. As a matter of fact, I can also do that. Now, like I told you before, I have a church. I have a studio at the church. Our church is the Church of Christ here in Clinton. And I'm thinking about trying Podbean over there on that computer. He's got the latest stuff on there, and he has a lot of room for a lot of stuff. So I might be taking it, because I could probably put I have cords, and I could put my voice recorder into the or in my tablet for that matter, anything into, because I have a larger console over there, and play stuff on there and be able to broadcast over there. But again, been having some trouble. It's a weak internet signal. I don't know if I'm going to do too much over there just yet. I've been talking with my friend Brian, who was helping me out with that. We're working towards we might need a signal booster over there, because the signal from the Wi-Fi has that long distance to go across the fellowship hall, which is away from the office. Not that far. It just seems that far. And the signal doesn't sometimes make it clearly to the antenna in the back of the computer in my office, especially when the door closed. But the thing about it is I don't want any outside noise in, which can be interference. But, I'm working on that extensively, and hoping maybe perhaps we can work things out here. Now I'm trying to see if I can, I have one cord that I use all the time. And I plug in to the board my phone so that I can play stuff off of there, off the internet. So that's what I'm doing too. And didn't really record the scroll through social media. Interesting topic last night. If anybody or any of you out there listen to a radio show called Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, it's a national talk show, and he does a good show. He talks a lot about interesting things. He was talking last night about some things that are memes that are going over the Facebook and over the internet that said that Epstein did not kill himself. And they were talking about that the whole night last night, and it was a really interesting topic. And it was, it just talks about how the news media influences a lot of what we in America, be honest with you, it's the truth, influences what we talk about, what we think. And I was talking about that yesterday with Zuckerberg, who's making these glasses that wearable, and it will read your thoughts. And that's pretty gosh darn spooky, folks. I mean, really. And I was talking about that. And it was one of those things that I think was real interesting, to say the least. And I was talking about that yesterday. So we're going to get into that a little bit today, too. And also some other things we're going to talk about, including what we're going to do here on Podbean and what we're going to do on Spreaker. Now, I'm still going to, by the way, the friend of mine from Pittsburgh, Ben Usman, another friend of mine, I'm going to introduce him to this Podbean, too, as well, and let him know that I'm on two different places. Problem with him being on the air with me here is that it won't pick up on here unless I were to go into some kind of thing there and see if it would go into my it would go into stereo mix, which would really be cool, because then I could take phone calls from my Skype, because I do have a Skype account and I do use it from time to time. Absolutely incredible phone calls you get off of that. The quality of the sound is just amazing. And I use Skype quite a bit. Gary Russen on Skype. If you're a Facebook follower, it would be great to do, because if you were to call me on Facebook, if you were a follower, and my messenger, you could call me there too, and we could get the callers on the air here on Podbean. So that's something I'm working on. Like I said, I'm working on various things to make it more interesting. And I'm hoping that maybe perhaps along the way we can improve things. I'm just studying this thing. I'm going to introduce this to my friend Brian and see if maybe he can help me with it in a lot of ways too, because I like that website version. That is pretty cool too. In which I can Black Dragons Radio's back, and another person just joined, Jay Hissey, Hecy. Welcome to the. Oh, she left. Maybe I butchered her name and she left. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh. Anyway, Black Dragons Radio is still with us. The Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online on Spreaker across America from Iowa and the Midwest. And this is the GJRB Online. Thank you for tuning in and joining me on the program. And if you'd like to be on the air with me, thank you. I'd like to be on the air with me. At least on Spreaker. All you have to do is get in Gary.Russen. And it'll sound kind of weird as a one-sided conversation, but it reminds me of a program I used to listen to in Pittsburgh on KDKA called Party Line. And their callers weren't on the air. You hear one side of a conversation. And it was kind of funny to listen to because you didn't know exactly what they were saying, but the response from the host of the program, Ed and Wendy King, was kind of interesting. And they used to do trivia and stuff like that. It was kind of a neat program. Got me into trivia a number of years ago. And it is a great show. We have, again, 4 online. And I'm hoping that we get some responses. If you'd like to be in here, you know, like I said, I'm going to have to go through and try to figure out the phone system here and how you can get people on the air. But you're welcome to call me if you know how to do it. And we'll put you on the air. Love to hear from you. Let's see. I'm going to, I thought I should have saved that particular post that I had. I'm hoping that I find it again. If I do, I'll save it. Kind of going down the page and see what we can find. And as we do the scroll through social media without the opening, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm gonna look into the, let's see what we got here. Minnesota players show great class versus Iowa. As Iowa Hawkeyes, wonder what's going on in that game. We'll find out later on here. Meanwhile, let's go down and see what else we can find. More stuff on Colin Kaepernick. I like to call him that once in a while. The guy's just I don't know. I just hope the Steelers don't sign that guy up. I really, quite honestly, don't. Because if they do, it's going to be the end of the Steelers for me. I mean, they'll be ruined for life. I'm sorry. I just don't see why they're going to pick this guy up. There are other quarterbacks that they could find really to draft other than him. Be honest with you, I really don't think Kaepernick is a good thing for the Steelers at this point. And I really wish that they don't consider doing that. But I guess we'll find out, right? Okay, I'm going down the page here and looking to find that post I had an hour earlier talking about the top 10 the Saturday top 10 countdown of the top 10 hits from this time in 1988, and I still haven't found it. Hoping I find it. Should have saved it in my music category, but did not. And if I hit this too hard and it goes into the page, and that is irritating too. Old typewriter. Yeah, that's cool. Let's see what we got here. Some interesting stuff. Oh, yeah. Let's see what we have here. Lotto F Troop. Okay, what we have here. Okay. Forgotten 45s. Number 1 Billboard hits the top 100 on November 16th. So why don't we do that instead? And if we find 1988, great. If we don't, we don't. But I'm going to put it in the music category anyway, because I usually use that for my oldies. I got an oldie show coming up. Also thinking about this week now, if you have seen the end of my show yesterday on Spreaker, I have it posted on my Facebook page if you want to go there, Gary John Russen, and give me a friend request. And I have my Facebook page. I have the schedule for next week. Well, pretty much Monday through Thursday next week is pretty much what I call TBA, to be announced. Probability, though, of a Gary Russen program midweek edition next week or a Gary J in the afternoon are two probables. Thinking Gary J in the afternoon Wednesday and then a Friday show next week would be back to the 80s. So watch for postings on the GJRB Spreaker public site for that. Back to the 80s on GJRB online on Spreaker only. For now, until I can try to figure out how to get music on here and be able to achieve that goal. But as of now, I don't know yet. Okay, let's go through the number one songs of the decade of the 1960s for November 16th. In 1960, it was Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles. Hit the number one spot. In 1961, Big Bad John by Jimmy Dean hit the number one spot. In 1962, He's a Rebel by the Crystals. Great song. Absolutely fabulous. One of my favorite oldies. In 1963, it was Deep Purple by Nino Temple and April Stevens. Was the number one song this week in 1963. That song would later become a number one hit record for Donnie Marie Osmond, by the way, later on. In 1964, Baby Love by the Supremes was the number one spot in November 16th, 1965. 1966, Poor Side of Town, Johnny Rivers. 1967, To Serve With Love by Lulu from the movie To Serve With Love starring Sidney Poitier. Coming in at number 60, 1968, the number one song was Hey Jude by the Beatles. I had that 45. As a matter of fact, it's part of my Dusty 45 collection. I have that. Double-sided hit with Revolution. Yep. 1969, the number one song was Wedding Bell Blues. Was done by The Fifth Dimension. Great song. Absolutely fabulous tune. So those are some of the great tunes that you heard on radio as number one hits back in the 1960s in November 16th. And there you go. Some of the real good tunes. According to Billboard's Hot 100, November 16th, 1960, Georgia on My Mind. And I might pick one of the two songs to play for you here on at least on the Spreaker side. I don't know. Wish I knew how I could pick that song up and play it over here, but let me see what I can do. I'm gonna check and see. I thought maybe there was a way. If you just hit one of these songs with my finger, it might play. I'm not sure, but it's worth a shot. I don't know yet. Let's see. The Rolling Stones, Get Off of My Cloud. Good song. Like that one a lot. Classic. So there you go. And I'll see if I can pull up some of those songs. I might even have them somewhere. But I know I have Big Bad John. I need a better copy of that song, though, because I have a copy of that song on my thing, but I don't know where it's at. And I'm not going to be able to play it on here on Podbean anyway. So I'm going to forget that. Alrighty, let's see. If you'd like to be part of the show, I'd love to hear from you. You're listening to the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online, on Podbean, and on Spreaker simulcast. And you're welcome to be a part of the show. We have Black Dragons Radio in the booth with us right now here. And he's saying, as I go into the Spreaker chat room, I'm going to do a test show. Only see how Podbean works, not using the account I have right now. You're going to do a test show only to see how Podbean works, not using the account. What would that prove, actually? What are you trying to accomplish there? I did a test, and I'm yet to hear it because I wanted to make sure that whatever I play through my board was going to come out over the air on Podbean. That's the reason why I did a test. It was only a 10-minute test, and I didn't even do half that time. But I just wanted to see how that was going to work, and that's the reason why I did it. Basically, darn, I missed the weather on the fives for Weather Nation, so we're going to do that next half hour. Okay, so we'll do Weather Nation next half hour because I didn't get to it. I'll get Weather Nation next time round. So we'll work on that one for the next half hour. Anytime that ends in 5. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 past the hour. And we're going to be probably doing that when we do our Podbean shows. It's going to be 25 and 55, whether it's music or news or talk or whatever. And on Spreaker, we're still going to do 25, 45 until on the music shows until I get the let's see. Just to see how it works. Okay, I understand. BJ, what I'm talking about here in this situation, what I was trying to say is that I don't know. See, I lost my train of thought here, which I'm good at. BJ, what I'm going to do anyway is I'm going to stick with the 3-hour plan on Spreaker, which is going to start in December because I really want to do more programming there. And as a matter of fact, it makes it so easier that I can play what I want until I try to figure out how I'm going to either have to do is get another CD player. I don't really have to do that. I have a old DVD player that will play music. All I have to do is plug it into my board. Fairly simple. And I've got a lot of music on CDs that I could play, as well as some stuff I have on other places, including cassettes, which I have dozens of those with music on them. Dozens. So, I mean, I'm pretty well set as far as that's concerned. But we're going to do that. You're seeing the Gary Russen program on Podbean and Spreaker, GRB Online. We have Black Dragons Radio with us in the Spreaker chat room. Sounds great. Thank you. In the Spreaker chat room. And you're listening to GJRB Online. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm learning I'm learning Podbean today. Okay, thank you. And I'm trying to figure out, I really would love to, I like that those templates, and I'm trying to figure out how to make that website. But I'm going to have a friend of mine who's pretty well genius in computers, as far as I'm concerned, compared to me. He's a friend of mine. His name is Brian. He works with us. He's my worker. And I'm going to see if he can help me try to figure out how to make a web page on there and how I can put my shows in that, and be able to, because I like that feature. I'm just trying to figure out how the heck to get that thing going. I made a nice little template, but I could only go so far with just a home page. So I'm trying to come up with, because I could put, what it is I want to be able to try to figure out how to get in here and be able to put stuff in about myself and my history and everything, so that people on Podbean would know who I am. And right now, I'm trying to work that out because the website is something I'm trying to figure out how to accomplish, and I haven't really played around with that yet. So I'm going to be working on that in the next segment. I'm going to try to get that going. So meanwhile, back at the jungle, you're listening to the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online and on Podbeam. And I'm glad that everyone is with me today. Always glad to have listeners out there who enjoy the radio like I do, and like to listen to the radio on Spreaker and on Podbean. And I want to say thank you so much for having you on today, because you have a fabulous, it's fabulous. And so thank you so much for tuning in. And we're going to take a break, and I will be right back with more of the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online, on Spreaker, and on Podbean after we take this break on the GJRB Online Network. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Listen up. If you like UFO conspiracies, ghosts, and the paranormal, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Spreaker's answer to Coast AM, with more interesting guest experts in the paranormal and UFOs each month. If you like Way Out There, you'll love Spaced Out Radio. Own the night with Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Nightly at 11 p.m. Central, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern, and 9 p.m. Pacific. On Spreaker, on Periscope, and on D-Talk Radio Network.
End times are upon us, and we need to know what's happening. Knowing the truth is key to survival. There are lots of news events going on in the world that have certain significance to end time happenings. Listen, as men and women gather to discuss the news and how it lines up with Bible prophecy on the last 7 days. Uploaded as a broadcast Wednesdays, and run live every third Friday at 12 o'clock noon Central on GJRB. Suicide's increasing among the youth, and many of them playing suicide games. This has to stop. Parents, watch your kids, and if you feel there's something going on and they are considering suicide, please talk to them. Help them. And if it seems hopeless, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is 1-800-273-8255. They can help. It's free and confidential. The call will be answered by a trained counselor in a local crisis center. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline can help.
There's a problem on our roads today, and that is the safety of our children boarding and getting off the bus on busy roads. That problem is drivers who don't stop for a school bus when the arm is out, the lights are flashing, and the stop sign is out, leaving kids in danger of getting hit. Violators of this law could get a suspension of their driver's license and a $250 fine. When you see a school bus stop at a corner, letting off kids, stop 25 feet away from the bus. Don't take that chance. A public service announcement from the National Highway Safety Administration and GJRB Online.
If you're a new emerging artist, and one of your songs out there that place to go is Reverb Nation. Reverb Nation lists the ability to go into new music from new artists from every town and every state in the U.S. If you're a solo artist and recording your own music, it's Reverb Nation. Stop on by, visit, listen to the music. Check out the site, www.reverbnation.com. Put your music out there and gain an audience. Go to Reverb Nation for the best in new music. And remember, if you like your songs played on GJRB Online's up and coming, drop me an email at GaryChase65@yahoo.com. And I'll be playing your song on all GJRB Online shows. Remember the name, Reverb Nation.